We just have to redo the lesson. We just have to redo. Confirm once again, now that we are recording, confirm once again, no one had access to the recording and none of you attended last week's lesson. While I'm changing the slides here.
Yes, we can confirm that, yeah, most of us were not. No. Yeah, it's our first time.
Okay.
And we're checking now on the group for the paid student. Nothing was posted for the first lesson.
All right. No, it's fine. We'll just redo it quickly. It was just introductory, so it shouldn't take much time. But then what I had done last week was we did the introductory, then I started on lesson number 1. We didn't finish lesson number 1. So I was thinking that today I'm just finishing off lesson number 1. But anyway, it's all good. Let's just restart. I'll just share the screen of the introductory lesson. So my name is Susan. I'll be taking you for ethical business management. Very, very interesting module. And, you know, it's one of the key things that are emerging in the business world right now. The business world wants to employ people who have gone through some ethical business training. So it's going to be a good look on your CV that you have done this. And we are now even having some companies setting up ethical business departments, and they actually hire ethical business managers. And since we do not have a degree in that at the moment, that means as long as you have studied it while you were doing a certain degree, you have an advantage. So we will do it this way. We are going to have the introductory lesson today. Then we are going to have what I call the study guide lessons. When I say study guide lessons, we are covering the content that is in your syllabus. And your syllabus, we are guided by the study guide. So the study guide will just give us, like it says, the word guide. You can see I put it in red there last week. It just guides us. It doesn't give us all the information. We need to go out there and research to add on to the information. Then, while we are still doing the study guide lessons, we are going to do the assignment class. In the assignment class, we will discuss the assignment. You get the hints, the tips, how to write that assignment and I will also give you a, but of course, I advise that you do the same assignment. So just use it as a guideline. We have the KCQ classes for your KCQs, and then before you write your exams, we are going to have exam preparation classes where we will go through past papers, common questions that normally come, and we discuss. I give you the answers so that it's easier for you to prepare for the exam. So this is how we are going to do it. So last week I had gone through the different units. I think today allow me to skip this part for the sake of time. It's just an outline of what we are going to cover on each unit, which is basically everything. So I think just allow me to skip this one. You can get this from your study guides to check what is on this unit and what is on that unit. So I think we can start from here. So the words that highlighted in red, it's because last week we were discussing, I was highlighting the most important things there. So just ignore that part. as we start this course, the first thing that we need to know is if we are talking ethical business management, we are talking about managing businesses in an ethical way. But what are ethics and what are the common terms that we are going to be coming across as we go through this course? So I've put for you 4 main terms that we are going to come across as we go through the study guide lessons, and I need you to understand those 4, because from here you hear those words a number of times and you need to know exactly what they mean in the context of ethical business management. So the word ethics itself, it comes from the Greek word ethos. It means custom, it means character of a person. It also means the guiding behaviors or that an institution has, or an organization. Like in our case, we are learning this in the context of organizations. So good ethics, we are talking about something that is good, that is right, that is just. And when we talk of professional ethics, we are talking about the standards of behavior of corporations, right? Then and is ethical. When we say sure a company is ethical, what do we mean? Because remember, a company is not a person. You don't get to talk to a person. You don't get to talk to an organization. They will not move amongst you. It is an organization. However, in the organization, there are people and there is a culture that is there. And that is the culture which will identify them as being ethical or unethical. So what is it that we identify an ethical corporation by? We identify it by it displaying transparency. There should be transparency in an ethical corporation. There should be accountability. There should be confidentiality where it's required. So the reason why transparency and confidentiality are in red, it's because sometimes it depends on the organization. Some organizations require transparency. You can tell from the words, transparency means revealing everything, and confidentiality means keeping information private. So there's sort of conflict, they are sort of opposites. So I gave an example of an organization that is expected to have transparency, and we have an accounting firm, we have municipalities. We want to know when we pay the rates, the municipality should be transparent. We collected so many thousands of rands. We used so many thousands of rands for this. Here are the receipts. Here is the company that we hired to do the plumbing. What. We want transparency for such type of organizations. Then go to the medical field, go to the law, to the legal field. We now need confidentiality. If I go to my doctor, I tell them my medical issues, he must not become transparent with that information. He shouldn't go around telling people that Susan has got this, and she's currently on such medication, and I think in a few months' time, she will be like, no. So ethical in this sense, depending on the nature of the organization, they might have to be confidential, or they might have to be transparent, or they might have to be transparent in some issues, and then they should know which issues to be confidential about. Let's say it's a hospital. Confidentiality when it comes to patient records. Transparency if it's a public hospital. Transparency on how they used the funds of the hospital. Okay. Then there should also be objectivity in an ethical corporation. respect. They should. We'll get in our, I think it's the second unit or the second lesson, but we'll get to that. So the terms that you need to know, those 4 terms which I said you must know. We have the first word, ethics. This is the branch of knowledge that deals with moral principles. For example, ethical business management. You learning ethical business management, you having it as a module for you to attain your degree. It means you are gaining the knowledge that talks about moral principles. Then moral principles, the way someone behaves or the way they conduct an activity. In simple, if you want to simplify, ethics is the study of what is right and wrong in human conduct. Then what are morals? I've mentioned morals 2 times in the definition for ethics. So what are morals? Morals are standards of behavior, the principles of right and wrong. So you can see that these two are very, very similar. When we talk of morals, we are talking about it being a it being principles of something that rules or governs a person's behavior. It's there in the moral principles there. Okay. Then the third term, so values govern the way we behave, the way we communicate, the way we interact with others. And I've given an example of values there. Are you having, can everyone hear me clearly?
I think your network is not stable, Susan.
Yeah, it keeps buffering, Susan.
Really? Oh,
Yes.
okay. Okay, let me connect the other device.
Okay, thank
Give
you.
me a moment. I change from the one I was using. But the rest of the time you could hear me clearly, then it buffers, then I come back.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. How is it now? I'm now on device number 2.
It sounds much better.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for alerting me to that one. So the values, they govern the way we behave, the way we communicate, the way we interact with others. And I was saying you can have values such as integrity, honesty, persistence, service, authenticity. All those are values. Now, what is the difference between the values and the morals? Usually, the morals, they describe, they are described in a statement. The morals that someone has, they are described in a statement, and the values are usually single words. Take note of the word usually there. And then the values, they come from within yourself, and they serve as intrinsic motivators. So the values will motivate you to be moral, meaning that the values, they are within you. If you are someone who has integrity, we all know people that we just say, that person, they have high level of integrity. It's just the way they are. Then the morals, you live, the morality you live by depends mainly on the personal values. And that become social norms for a group of people. So when the morals clash with the personal value, normally someone goes for the value. The value will win over the morals. Why? Because the values are deeply rooted, they are intrinsic, and they form part of the personality of a person. It's very rare for someone to, when they have a conflict between the morals and the values, it's very rare for them to choose the morals. And remember, morals are set by society, right? They are set by society, but values are intrinsic. They are within someone. So we have three kinds of values. We have what we call the strategic values. As we are going through ethical business management, these are the values that we'll be more concerned about. These are the values that are at organizational level, and they are long-term. They are long-term for the organization. These are strategic goals and objectives of the organization. Then we have what we call job values. The job values, they differ according to the job that someone has. So as much as we expect everyone in the organization to have accountability, for example, but we know that the guys in the finance department who deal with money, we expect more accountability from them than maybe people who are working elsewhere. Then the last type of value is the ethical values. Now, these are the values that you uphold as you strive or you want to be ethical. So if you are making an effort to be ethical, then you will abide by the ethical values. Okay, then the last word that we need to know is dilemma. Now, when someone is in a dilemma, they are in a very difficult situation where they have either two undesirable or desirable situations. So if one situation is undesirable and the other is desirable, then it's not a dilemma. It has to be two desirable or two undesirable situations, and then you are in a dilemma. So a dilemma can be, maybe before I go to the two types, the social and the personal dilemma, I can try to give you an example of a dilemma. What can I say? Okay, let's say today you were supposed to attend ethical business management. You have paid for it. You really want to attend. Then you are told around 3 that it's starting at 7 up to 8. And yet between 7 and 8, you've got something else that is very important that you need to do. So that is both of those are desirable situations. You are just expected to attend, but you can only attend one of the two. That is a dilemma. Now you are in a dilemma. Should I attend ADBM? Should I attend this? So what can I do? You will be in a dilemma. Or where it's undesirable, what can I think of where it's undesirable? Maybe at a workplace, in the context now of ethical business management, at the workplace where you are, you realize that your boss is stealing money from the company, and now you are in a dilemma to report him. That is undesirable for you because it means you are going against your boss. Or to keep quiet, it is still undesirable for you to keep quiet because one day if it's discovered, it's going to come back to you. So you will be in a dilemma. Those are two undesirable situations. So we have two types of dilemmas. We have the social, where one is in a situation which tempts them to do something that will put the interests of others at risk. And then we have the personal, where one is in a situation in which they have to make a choice that affects them. So using those two examples that I gave you, which one is personal and which one is social? Using those two examples, I know they are just rough examples because I was making them up as I was going. Roughly, which one is the social, which one is the personal? Hello, can you hear me? Okay, for me, I think the personal dilemma is where you have to, it's something that affects you, whether you should attend the class or you should attend the other event. And then the social, it puts someone else at risk. I would think the one on your boss should be the social dilemma. So that was the introductory class. Are there any questions there? And it's exactly past. Any questions? I did see one question, where is it? Someone who was asking about the Batopele, but put that thought on hold. We'll get to it. We'll get to it on the I can't find the charts now. Okay. Oh, someone had typed the answer that I think one of the boss who steals money is social. Okay. Tandogazi said, is there any link between ethics and Batopele principles? Yes, definitely. But we'll get to that in the later lessons. Okay, guys, are you happy with those 4 terms? Can we proceed to lesson 1? Okay.
Yes, we can proceed.
All right. Okay, so let me share lesson 1 now. It was opened where where we ended last week. So let me just go back to the start. So why are we bothering to learn about ethics in business? Why are we undertaking this course? What's the importance of good ethics in a business? So number 1, it's important to have good ethics because you get a good reputation. You get a good reputation once your organization is known to be ethical. It gives you a good image. Yes, I see someone has written the word image there. And also it gives the public satisfaction. When you conduct your business ethically, people start to like you and you get loyalty from customers. Even just from the community, you get loyalty. Also, you can set an example in the corporate world, meaning you can be stewards of ethics. Imagine being known that in the retail sector, Susan Supermarket is the best when it comes to ethics. So you become stewards. People give you as an example of good ethics. Okay. Employee relations, when you have good ethics, you are likely to relate well to your employees because you will not discriminate, you will not harass them, you will not do anything that is unethical towards the employees. And this serves to create good employee relations within your organization. And when you have good employee relations, it means what? It means more productivity because the employees are motivated, they are happy to be working for you. Then the other importance of ethics, is because it's expected. You do it because it's expected by stakeholders. And who are the stakeholders? We have stakeholders such as investors, suppliers, customers, regulatory authorities, such as SARS, such as trade unions, and so on. Okay. Then Also, you just avoid legal issues. Whenever you are unethical, you are always being sued for this or that. And overall, when all this is said and done, you get positive benefits. You get positive benefits. Like we said, you get loyalty from your customers, you get good employee relations, you get productivity, you just get positive vibes throughout your business. So it's important for you to have good ethics. Is there any other that I might have left out there? The importance of good ethics? Anything that you can think of?
I don't know if it goes with public satisfaction, but basically it means it makes it easy for people to want to do business with you because they know that when they do business with you, you will do things the right way.
Yes, that's very true. You just I think it's somewhere in between the expected by stakeholders and also setting a good example in the corporate world. Everyone wants to do business with an ethical organization. An organization that you know has got dubious management or they have had issues of unethical behavior. No one really wants to be associated with them. Thank you so much for that addition. Anyone else? Okay. So how do we get to have ethical reasoning as people? How do you get to say this is right? No, this is wrong. How do we get there? Are we born with that knowledge? When we are born, is it automatic that we know that this is right, this is wrong? Are we taught that this is right, this is wrong? Do we observe as we grow up, meaning does it come through nurturing? How do we get to have those good ethics? So we are going to look at one framework which tries to explain how we get to have ethics, how we get to know or to be ethical. So the framework that we are going to look at is called COBEC. But maybe before that, let's look at the two approaches that you can have to ethical reasoning. We have the philosophical perspective, which is an approach that uses logic and the reasoning. So with the philosophical perspective, it says that you get to have ethical reasoning through logic. You look at something, you assess in your mind, and you are able to say, no, man, this is wrong, this is right, this is ethical, and this is unethical. So it assumes that you have a willingness to seek and to act on reasons, and you want to promote impartiality in moral judgments. For example, using the philosophical perspective, when people are maybe arguing about whether a certain action is moral, they will base the discussion on principles when they are using the philosophical perspective. But then there is also the psychological perspective. Now, the psychological perspective, it focuses on the process of forming ethical judgments. So we are saying philosophical. We are saying, okay, guys, our worker, so and so, did A, B, C, D. She did this. Do you think as management this is ethical or unethical? Using the philosophical perspective, we are going to use the reasoning and we are going to use logic to come up with whether it's ethical or unethical. But using the psychological, we are going to use this psychological perspective. We are going to use how we have been what can I say? How we have been raised to know the right or wrong of something. Okay, psychological means the mind. And then philosophical means the reasoning, the logic, the rationality of that reasoning. So when we talk of the psychological reasoning, this is where we look at frameworks such as Kobeck. Kobeck, it's a framework that tries to explain how people develop moral reasoning. So it has this framework, it has six stages, and those 6 stages are divided into 3 levels, meaning each level has got 2 stages. So we'll just go through them, and because it's our introductory lesson, it's our first lesson, I'll end there. I won't go beyond Kobeck's 6 stages. It's a lot for you guys to take in, especially if you have never studied business ethics at all. So let's go to the Kobeck's. Remember, Kobeck falls under the psychological perspective. Okay. So, like I said, Kobeck has got 6 stages and they have 3 levels. Let's just proceed to the next one. So we have the first level, the first of the 3 levels. It's what we call the pre-conventional level. So with Kobeck, he tried to explain how ethical reasoning comes about in a person as they live in society. So he says it starts when you are very young, when you do something ethical out of obedience and out of fear of punishment. So at this stage, usually this is a child who is 4 years old and below, somewhere there. At this stage, the person obeys rules so that they avoid punishment. You know that stage when we tell our kids, hands or better, I'll thrash you if you do this. That child might not have the understanding of why should I not do this. The only thing they understand is that mommy said she will beat me up if I do this. So they just follow it as it is because they are trying to avoid punishment. Nowadays, you guys, as you are raising your kids, you are now using timeout and so on. So this is the growth that the child gets because they fear timeout. With us, with my generation, there was no timeout. There was a belt and a switch. You get beaten if you do anything that is against what your parents, what your parents or your guardian or whoever is raising you tells you to do. So this is the pre-conventional level, stage 1, fear of punishment. Stage 2, we are now talking about self-interest. Self-interest. So the individual is focusing on self-interest, but they now have an understanding that if I do this, it's right because it will also benefit so and so. They now understand that they are living with other people. There is mutual benefit in following rules. They are not only fearing being beaten up, but they are now also realizing that, you know what, if I don't do this, I don't get friends. No one wants to play with me. Everyone looks at me like I'm a bad child and so on. So they realize that mutual benefit. They have progressed a little bit from stage 1. Then we go to stage 3. Stage 3, I hope you guys, you are also looking at those illustrations. Are you seeing the illustrations there? With regard to what I'm saying? Okay, all right. Virginia says you are. Here, I'm sure you can see someone is being told what they will do to them. That's the stage 1. Stage 2, self-interest. They are now realizing, you know what, these 2 are my parents. I'm sure they mean well. It will be better for all of us if I obey. Then stage 3, there you are now. At this stage, usually this is the teenagers, you know, that stage when you seek approval from others, when you seek to fit in. So stage 3 is what we call the good interpersonal relations. So you are developing the ethics because you want conformity, you want to fit in, you want to seek approval from the others. So you know that if I do this, everyone will turn against me, or everyone will come towards me, something like that. So this is the conventional level now. And the second stage in the conventional level, which is stage 4, we are now talking about authority and social order. You now realize that there are societal rules and laws. You focus on maintaining social order. Social order means the way we live in a society. It's a bigger picture than just you and your parents in the home. You live in a society, there are rules there that you need to follow in the society there. Then we go to the last stage, which is the post-conventional level. So in the post-conventional level, we are now talking individual rights orientation. At this stage, people begin to question the social norms and they start realizing that the rules are relative. Some people bend the rules, they get away with it. Others, they have to conform to the rules. You start to understand that the rules, they are there to serve a greater good, but they can be changed for the benefit of the society. So this is now maturity. This is now maturity where you now know that, okay, everyone that I work with in the accounts department is stealing, but I decide that I will not steal, because you are now independent to make those decisions yourself. You no longer just conform to what everyone else is doing. Then the last one is what we call the universal principle. Now, with universal principle, you are now realizing the universality of the rules and regulations, the principles, the ethics. Okay, so you now act using your conscience, and you are even willing to disobey laws that will violate your principles. So if you go to an organization that give you rules that go against your principles, maybe you are someone who is honest, who has integrity, and you are being told to do something that is dishonest, that goes against integrity, then at this stage, you are now able to go in conflict with those societal rules and laws. So this is the last stage of maturity when it comes to morals. And these 6 stages, according to Kobeck, they do not necessarily go according to age. You can get someone who is very, very young, who is on post-conventional level. Have you ever seen that, where you see a child who is mature beyond their age when it comes to ethics, and then you see grown men and women who are, you know, very old, but when you look at them according to those 6 stages, you find that this person is still on stage 1. They just they just abide to the rules of society because they fear being punished. Maybe they are still right at level 1, you see. So it's not really according to age. It's just an illustration of how someone would develop psychologically. Remember, this is the psychological perspective. So this is how they would develop psychologically according to Kohlberg. There are many other frameworks that are there on moral development, but you are required to know Kohlberg. So I suggest you go and read further on Kohlberg. Just Google Kohlberg, find 1 or 2 articles just to cement the knowledge that you now have. So I will end here. I won't go beyond this. And this is where I ended again with the class last week. So at this stage, there is no need for you to seek out that recording. It will be a repetition of what we've been doing. Are there any questions, any contributions? When is your assignment due? And have you looked at it? When is the assignment due? I'm just wondering whether anyone has had a chance to look at the assignment. If you don't even know when it's due, it means you haven't even started, Mas. Guys, can you still hear me?
Yes, Susan, we can. It's due on
okay.
31st of March.
35. It's still far.
Yes.
Still very, very, very far. So we'll probably do it maybe end of February, somewhere there. So you can, if you want, you can just start on the assignment, but we are going to do it together in class, and we'll do it in time for you to be able to write and submit. My suggestion is that don't write and submit now. You can start writing, but don't submit. Otherwise, when we do the assignment class, you might find there are 1 or 2 things maybe that you left out or that you misunderstood. Okay. So we'll be meeting every Wednesday from 7 to 8, unless there are changes, but that's as far as I know. Any suggestions on how we can proceed? Are you happy with the way we are doing the classes? And by the way, I'll be sending you those slides that I was going through. So you will have them so that you can refer to them even as you are studying or whatever.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that would be nice.
For today, I will only send you the introductory ones because the lesson 1 we didn't finish. I usually don't like to give you the slides on something that we haven't covered yet. So for lesson 1, I will send them next week after we finish lesson 1. Today, I will just send you the introductory ones. So what I would suggest you do is go and look through the units. You remember that part which I skipped? Just look through the units and check, okay, what is it that I'm supposed to know on this unit and on this unit? Then also, I need you guys to realize that as we do the study guide lessons, sometimes I don't necessarily follow the order in the study guide. But when we are done with the lessons, we would have covered everything. So I might feel like something that is in unit 1 is complemented well by something that is in unit 3, and I cover that part from unit 3. So You don't necessarily need to open the study guide and say, but 1.3 says this, 1.4 says that, we should move to this one. Because what I can assure you is that when we are done, we would have covered everything. I will make sure that we cover everything. Okay. Okay, so if there are no questions, I think we can end here. Is that all right?